We are the Catalan independentist resistance, and you are listening to a new update from Radio Hadrian in Free Catalonia.
There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what is not true. The other is not to believe what it is true. Søren Kierkegaard, 1813-1855, Danish philosopher. Good afternoon, this is chapter 53, Radio Hadrian on its English language edition, the program that is possible thanks to KA Radio, the voice of new music, and to Cheryl Scott and Delia Forrest. We are growing in the resistance in Catalonia. We are forging links with not only with Scotland, which we already had, but with the Basque Country, and we're hoping to do that soon with Ireland, with the idea of building an association for the freedom of our peoples, both fighting against the British and Spanish states. And what we're learning about other realities confirm what we know. Everything we know, everything we consider in Scotland, Catalonia, and the Basque Country is run by our enemies. And we are inside a gigantic Truman Show where every party, every media, everything we love works for the enemy. And we've learned that from Basque Country this week with our links with the resistance. And it confirms, because it's the same way of operating in Catalonia and in Scotland. So we have reason now to believe that it's more or less everywhere in the world. No independence movement that wants something that is against the interest of the Western powers ever happens, and they infiltrate everything to let us believe we're close to independence, but we're actually as far away from it as we've ever been. The Catalan resistance is making inroads. You have our website. We keep encouraging people that are native speakers of any language in the world so we can keep growing the number of languages. Our goals are written in our website. This week, not only do we do 3 editions of Radio Hadrian, we're going to be tonight as well in the Chris Everett Show in Truth Frequency Radio, and next week we're going to be again in Nostra Television, again in Pandora Buscadores, and in Kit Internacional, a radio with 500,000 listeners, mainly in Latin America. And we also have a conference, and we're meeting lots of people, 1-on-1 or 3-on-1, that want to know the project of Directa 68, which is the only pro-indie project really that is capable of delivering independence. With that, we'll go. Well, this program is mainly about what we already said in the chapter 19 of Radio Hadrian, which was recorded the 27th of October of 2017. Today is 3rd of June. 7 months, more than 7 months ago, we already said 3 hours after, well, and we'll go into that in the program, but it's what we said already in chapter 19 that has happened last Friday. We're gonna talk about new government in Catalonia as well. We're gonna tell a bit about the truth about the Basque Country, and we're gonna talk briefly about several other things, and also to unmask the lie about George Soros and the world wanting to make federalized Europe, which they're trying to put the free-thinking people against the independence of Catalonia, because they're trying to make it look like George Soros is sponsoring Catalan independence when the truth is the contrary. So those are going to be the main things we're going to talk about. This program is dedicated to every person that has died, always, in all history, in false flag attacks, like the ones the 11th of September in New York, or the 11th of March in Madrid, or 17th of August in Barcelona. It goes dedicated to them all. We need to wake up, because every time something like this happens is because we are with our silence we're becoming accomplices of all these false flag murders. So it's time to rise against this oppression. This oppression based, as always we say, in our fear that they promote, and in our ignorance. We have to overcome our fear, and we need to educate ourselves to get out of that ignorance. Those are the main tools to keep 7,500 people under by a bunch of psychopaths that run the world. So then we've done it again. We said it 7 months ago. It was on the eve. It was chapter 19. It only has Catalan edition because it was a peculiar personal time for me. There's no chapter 19 in English, and in Catalan we said three things. We're talking a program recorded just 3 hours after the second fake declaration of independence of the 27th of October in Catalonia, and we said three things in chapter 19, and this chapter 19 is doing the rounds. And then again, if you want the truth about Catalonia and some truth about Scotland and lots of truths about the world to come out, you need to listen to this program and you need to spread it. And if we have people that want to tell the truth about Scotland, the truth that nothing else tells, we need people helping in Scotland. We need reporters. We're going to change things in Catalonia, and that will help the change in Scotland as well. And we're going to need people who now might be studying journalism that are passionate enough to find the truth and courageous enough to let the truth be known, because actually we are starved of truth. Nothing that gets published about Scotland or Catalonia is true. So we need to change that. So in that chapter 19 we said three things. Put yourself in the situation. It's 3 hours after Declaration of Independence has happened in Parliament. 3 hours after that we go to record, and we say three basic things. We said, hold your horses, or beware, because independence has not been declared. And 7 months after that, it shows it hasn't been declared. Second thing we said is, now they're gonna imprison the traitors that have murdered independence from the inside. And I mentioned Puigdemont, Forcadell and Junqueras. Well, Junqueras and Puigdemont are in prison, and Puigdemont pretends to be exiled. So second thing we got right. But the third one, and I have to say, when the member of Directa 68 found out the precise minute, I couldn't believe the precision of what we said 7 months ago, and in very difficult circumstances, in a day when it was very difficult to keep calm. You've been pro-independence since you were 18. That your parliament declares independence, it should be a moment of joy. But then we realized that the best way we could serve not only the cause of Catalan independence, but the cause of freedom and truth everywhere in the world, was to keep focus and stay calm. And we said, their plan of the world is to murder independence in a Scottish-style referendum. But to do that, they cannot do it. They cannot do it through the hands of Partido Popular. So we said they need to change. As we said, the plan is to murder Catalan independence the same way they did in Quebec, or the same they did in Scotland. That's why we keep insisting that no referendum will bring independence, either to Catalonia or Scotland. Referendums don't bring independence. We've explained it several times in this program. Brexit possibly will be revoked by a second referendum. A second referendum in Brexit, which this week Theresa May has been recorded saying that she would vote against Brexit, as she did the first time, could have kept Scotland inside, because it has been linked in a way, independence of Scotland, to Brexit. So now if Brexit doesn't happen, there is one less reason for Scottish independence. Not, but that's how they make it look like. And also the revoked Brexit will put the idea of leaving the European Union out of the minds of the Northern Europeans that were considering it. So referendums don't bring independence. But to murder Catalan independence by a referendum, that cannot be done by a government of Partido Popular that has been pretending not to want it for 8-10 years. So a change of government was needed. And that night, the night of the 28th of October, while we were recording chapter 19 in Catalan, we said, and now they're gonna bring down Partido Popular, probably based on the corruption scandal of Gürtel. Well, that's what has happened this week. So we said independence had not happened that day. We said that they would detain the traitors to make them pass as heroes, and we said that it would bring down the government of Partido Popular to bring about a Scottish-style referendum that would murder independence. We are not Nostradamus, we just know the truth, and we're not scared to look at the truth, and we know that we live in a fake conflict. Both leaders in both sides work for the New World Order, and we people running behind the Spanish or the Catalan flag are just following psychopath pipers. So that is reason enough to realize that the only movement fighting for Catalan independence is the Catalan resistance, represented in Directa 68 and in Radio Hadrian, and that's the only things we've got now. And we need all the time, all the financial support, and all the ways you can help us to deliver independence in Catalonia, because that would help the independence in Scotland. And if we don't get it, it will be much more difficult for you to get yours. A second drama and a second pantomime this week in Spanish state, and then as far as we don't declare independence in Catalonia, has been the censorship motion that has brought down Partido Popular, as we forewarned it would happen. Of course, Partido Popular is the follower of Franco, and they have lots of blood in their hands. So of course, it's a good news. It should be that Partido Popular goes under, but Socialist Party is the one that got Spain in NATO against the will of the majority of its population, and it's the one that created the terror group GAL, and they're the same thing. As far as we think that Partido Popular, PSOE, Ciudadanos, Podemos, CUP, PDeCAT or Esquerra Republicana are different things, we are not part of the solution. We keep being part of the problem. The 7 parties that are in Catalan parliament, the 7 of them work for Spain, with different dresses, with different wording, with different programs, but at the end of the day, none of them declares independence. Some of them say they don't want it. The others say they couldn't do it. The others say they'll do it later. But it's part of the same plan. It's like voting for them. It's like you want to punish Coca-Cola, but you vote for Cherry Coke, or you vote for Fanta, or you vote for Sprite. It's the same corporation. It's time to wake up. So then this guy, this Pedro Sánchez, which was demoted from the Socialist Party because time was essential. They needed to bring down Rajoy to make a referendum, but at first they needed the 1st of October and the violence. So this guy was demoted as leader of the PSOE party, and then he made a really weird comeback. Weird if you don't know that everything we see is a show. And now, against all odds, he happens to be president of Spain, and now the way to negotiation and the way to the fake prisoners being out and the way for a fake Article 155 to be taken away is easier and whatever. And this comes from Pedro Sánchez, which goes to the Bilderberg meetings, and it's a guy that after touching a dark-skinned kid, he washes his hand in camera. So that's what we're talking about. Nothing has changed. And the same we could say about Ciudadanos or Podemos. These are New World Order controlled dissidents. So we can think that one is better than the other, and so on. The most ridiculous thing is that Mariano Rajoy has been brought under with the votes of the so-called pro-Indi Catalan parties. Let's take a closer look. So Catalan parties say they've declared a republic. So they shouldn't be in Spanish parliament. Oh, but they are. Curious, isn't it? And then Spain, that could impose the state of siege, allows pro-Indi members of Spanish parliament to bring down a Spanish government that is supposed to be running Catalonia. Well, if you are not a mouse, you have it before your very eyes. It's all a mockery. They all are part of the same theater company called New World Order with its subsidiary called Spain. And that's all there is. And being happier because this guy is out and the other's in and the others, it's all scripted. And they give them the words, but they also tell them when they have to cry, and they also tell them everything. They get their lines from secret services, every party in parliament, both in Catalonia and both in Spain. And then they have thousands of shields in social media spreading their rubbish. And we have to stand against all that because we are a majority and we are the people. And we need to get together and put an end to this, because otherwise we're going to end up like farm animals with compulsory vaccination and microchip under our skin, and they can decide how we breathe or when we die. They actually already do that. And we need to put an end to this because we are the majority and we need to make a stand. There's new government in Catalonia. In Catalonia, the big battle is, when you need to understand this, people running the resistance. We know that the people in prison work for Spain. We know that the people in Catalan government now work for Spain. And we know that the exiles work for Spain. That's why they put me in a mental institution. That's why they torture me. And that's why they push me to suicide. That's why my communications are listened to. And that's why I live under permanent death threat, which is something that's not going to get less today, more the country, for some things that we're gonna say in a few minutes. So all of that, all the yellow thing and all the thing about prisoners and all the thing about extraditing, all this is to distract Catalans from the fact that all these people, the people in prison and the people in government and the people in so-called exile, are the traitors that didn't declare independence, not only once but twice, during the unfamous month of October 2017. These people would be lynched on the streets. Their house would be ransacked. It's something that we don't endorse here. And I want to clarify that. Once the truth will come out, Puigdemont, Junqueras, Forcadell, Mas, but Rufián, members of CUP, members of Catalan Parliament, members of media, members of social organizations are going to be the most loathed, the most hated people in the history of Catalonia. The treason has been enormous. People paying money, people hitting pans, people crying for them, people reading newspapers and doing all kind of efforts and concerts and going everywhere and all that for traitors that murdered independence. Some of them on top are accomplices of the murder of Muriel Casals and that what happened to me. So these people are not only traitors but are criminals. They're state criminals. And all that is the big battle, the big battle for yellow and the battle for the so-called prisoners, so-called exiles. All that has had a chapter this week because some members that are in prison couldn't be part of the government, so they have been changed. That has opened the door to some infight in the pro-indie field, which is normal because that's what they did it. They did it precisely to have like some moles like Alexandre Palousier, Joan Vives, and people you already know about to become critical of what has happened. But the main thing, and I published one picture. I know some of these people from 1990. One, Josep Rull, I know for a fact that he works for Spain and he's supposed to be in prison for being pro-Indian. But he's been substituted by a friend of his. Can you imagine somebody you've been friends since university time taking a place in government because you're in prison? Well, you only that because this Damià Calvet is a scoundrel, or because he knows it's a mockery that you're in prison. It's part of a mockery, or both. I think that's the reason. I think he's a scoundrel. I think that he knows that this is a farce. Well, I happened to put a picture of that when the two of them were breaking up the pro-indie student union in university, which I happen to belong to as well. And that picture, as you can imagine, shows not only them but some other people that are in prison now that were breaking a pro-indie student syndicate 28 years ago. And you should have seen the hundreds or tens of trolls attacking me, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't talk about the past and all this." And that's why they hate me. I know all these people since 1989, 1990. I know a lot of them. And I know it took me 25 years, but I know their modes. So getting me out of the way is a very important objective for the Spanish state, because I'm the one that has memory. I'm the one that has data. I'm one that is not afraid to speak the truth. I said it in my Facebook this week. I'm not a journalist. I studied law. I decided not to do law when they told me that law is not to make justice but to keep order. I believe in the truth. I believe in freedom. I believe in justice. I don't believe in keeping order for the elites. That's why I didn't dedicate myself to law. I don't have a journalism license, but a lot of people making a lot of money on that don't have it in Catalonia and Spain, so that wouldn't be the issue. But for me, the essence of journalism is a passion to find truth and not being scared to tell it. And that's what we do in Radio Hadrian. And that's what not many more people are doing in Catalonia. Nobody that gets paid for it, for certain. You only get paid in Catalonia to lie against Catalans and to murder independence if you're a journalist. We've been attacked by La Vanguardia, a certain Francesc Marc Álvaro, which is a mole that he ran away from me sometime. He has dared attacking the resistance without mentioning our names. In La Vanguardia. La Vanguardia is a newspaper that in the 50s says all Catalans are shit. And then there's some still people who buys La Vanguardia. It's a bit like the same that if you are Phil Hebrew or whatever buying a Ford car when Henry Ford supported the Nazis. So this dissociation thing they put in our brain. So now the show goes on in Catalonia, and we have time to clarify two more things. I mentioned before that we plan to gather together the good people of Scotland, of Ireland, of Basque Country, and of Catalonia, which might be a bit more advanced, but the people from Wales or Andalusia or Galicia or Canary Islands want to join us, and people from not only UK, not nations conquered or submitted by UK or Spain, but other nations that want to be free anywhere in the world. We need to get free because all the official things, all these alliances are run by moles. Everything we see, every structure we see, and WikiLeaks and open societies and all these things are against us. But this week we found out the hard truth about the Basque Country. ETA wasn't fighting for independence as far away as the 70s. It was run by Spanish government and its proxies and its pals. So the main murders happening in Spain then that have been attributed by Islamic State or by ETA or all these things are actually commanded by Spanish states and the organizations they belong to. And radical rock bands have been tools in the hands of Spain, and radical parties have been tools to neutralize independentism. And Guardia Civil has been spreading drugs in the Basque youth. And basically, some people have been in prison 10, 15 years for committing attacks. And they found out inside prison that they were fighting for a lie, because this has been a lie for at least 30 or 40 years. It was started, and we don't endorse violence here, even when it's in self-defense. Our chosen path to independence is to dismount the lies in Scotland, in Catalonia, in Basque Country, in Ireland, and most probably everywhere in European Union, where all independence movements are run by our enemies. And that's our chosen path. But in the beginning, it seems IRA and ETA were started by people wanting to set free the Basque Country in Ireland, but those were taken over not too long after that by United Kingdom and Spain. So this OMAC, this Hipercor, all these massacres that nobody can understand, well, it's easier to understand when you realize that they're done or ordered by London or Madrid to put people away from the independence movements, isn't it? It's such clear cases of false flag. The same way as in Brigate Rosa, and all this forms part of the Gladio operation. And the same way as it was the Italian state that murdered Aldo Moro to avoid the communists entering the government. And this hard truth about Euskal Herria, we don't know if we're gonna find, we hope we're gonna find people courageous enough to tell the truth. Well, I'm already on their hit list, so if you hear me telling things that have to be second hand, because of course it cannot be first hand, it's because we haven't found somebody who wants to tell the truth there. But that doesn't make it any less truth. They just need somebody to tell the truth, not just because we want to do the job for them, because it's for them to do it, and I know they're gonna do it. But it is, first we need to gather together. All these fights are the same fight, and our enemies fight together, so our peoples have to fight together. But secondly, it's the same thing. I couldn't understand fully Catalonia until I realized that Scottish pro-Indie people have been taken for the biggest right in their lives. And it was easier to see it without cognitive dissonance watching what happened in Scotland. And the same thing might happen to Catalans. If they learn how you were stolen your referendum by the SNP, Sturgeon, Salmon, and if they realize that everything we believe from the Basque Country, it's a lie, and all the names we believe, like from Otegi down, this Otegi down is a New World Order mold that he is an accomplice of the 11th of March murders when he helped in this operation of distraction. And that's the truth, and that's how we tell it. Last thing we want to say is there's a lie doing the rounds that WikiLeaks, Russia, George Soros are helping independence of Catalonia because they're helping the Catalan process. That's where the big lie lies. The Catalan process is run by the enemies of independence, the likes of Puigdemont, Junqueras, Rovira, Ana Gabriel, Rufián, all the names you might know all over the world. Those are New World Order molds. So people, and sometimes they say, oh, the Spanish or European Union is collaborating with federalization, or Zionism, or all this, or Freemasons, all these things might very well have links with Puigdemont or with Junqueras or with the leaders of the Catalan process. But that is to murder independence. They didn't start this. The fire was started by the people in 2009 in the non-binding consultations in Arenys de Munt in 2009. And then the powers that be realized that, and they needed to nurture that, and 1 year after that they controlled everything. And everything we've seen from 2010 has been ways to murder independence. So people helping the Catalan process are people helping murder independence. All this is spread by extreme right-wing movements that hate certain things, and they bundle them together to try to put the good people in the world against the independence of Catalonia. The independence of Catalonia is gonna happen. It's gonna happen delivered by Directa 68, the party I have the privilege of being member of. It's gonna bring a better way of living in Catalonia, and it's gonna be a humble example to other places on how to unveil the mobsters, the psychopaths that are running our independence movement, to murder them. It's been a privilege being here. We'll be here as long as we can. Whatever might happen to us, prevail. Persons are not important. The species are important. I'm not scared. I'll keep doing what my conscience tells me to do. But if something happens, please finish the job in Scotland, in Euskal Herria, in Ireland, in Catalonia, everywhere in the world where there's a fair cause to be won. Saur Aluba Gubra, visca Catalunya lliure.
This has been another update from the Catalan independentist resistance from Radio Hadrian. Remember that you can follow us on social media, either on Facebook, YouTube, our Twitter account, Instagram, Google, Telegram, and also on iVoox.